the power of thoughts, of feelings, and of the will. Revelations of Jesus Christ, from 1884 to 1950. Sending and receiving thoughts, and the effects thereof. Thus saith the Lord. There are forces invisible to human sight, and unknown to the science of man, which enduringly influence your lives. There are those who are good and those who are bad, some who give you health and others who cause illnesses. There are some brimming with light and others with darkness. Whence do these forces arise? From the spirit, disciples, from the mind and from feelings. Every incarnated and disincarnated spirit emanates vibrations when it thinks. Every emotion exerts an influence. You can be sure that the world is filled with these vibrations. Now you may easily understand that healthy forces and influences must exist where people think and dwell in goodness, and that where they live outside of the laws and regulations which are determined by goodness, justice, and love, there must exist evil forces. Both of them permeate the spiritual space, struggling with one another and influencing the emotional life of men. If men know how to distinguish between them, they will embrace the good inspirations and reject the evil influences. But if the men are weak and unprepared in the practice of righteousness, they will be unable to confront these vibrations and are in danger of succumbing to their dominance, becoming slaves of evil. Everything spiritual in the universe is a fountain of light, visible or invisible to you. That light is strength, it is power, it is inspiration. From ideas, words, and deeds, light emanates, according to the purity and elevation they possess. The more elevated an idea or deed, the more delicate and gentle the vibration and inspiration it emits, though it is consequently more difficult for the slaves of materialism to perceive it. Nevertheless, the effect exerted spiritually by thoughts and elevated deeds is great indeed. When an idea or a thought of light emerges from your mind, it thereby reaches its objective to fulfill its mission of benefaction. If, instead of kind thoughts, impure emanations surge from your mind, they will only cause harm wherever you send them. I say to you that thoughts are deeds, and as such, they remain written in the book that exists within your conscience. Be your deeds good or bad, you will receive multiplied what you wished for your brethren. But it is better to do some harm unto yourselves, instead of wishing it upon one of your fellow men. That is why during the second era I said to you, what you sow, you reap. For it is necessary that you be aware of your experiences in this life, and for you to remember that your harvest will give you back the same seed you sowed, although multiplied. O humanity, how you have neglected to meditate, feel, or live the teachings of your master. That is why I have told you that you did not know the strength of thoughts. Today I tell you that a thought is both voice and hearing. It is a weapon and a shield. It creates and destroys. Thought cuts the distance between those who are apart, and finds those who had been lost. Know your weapons before the battle commences. He who knows how to prepare himself will be strong and invincible. It will not be necessary to wield mortal weapons. Your sword will be thought, pure and clean. Your shield, faith and brotherly love. Even in silence, your voice will resound as a message of peace. Be vigilant, being careful not to stain your mind with impure thoughts. The mind is creative, and when you give space to an evil idea, it will lead you to the lower planes, and your spirit will be surrounded by darkness. The joined thoughts of a multitude will be capable of striking down evil influences, toppling idols from their pedestals. Today I can assure you that, in the future, communication through thought will undergo great development. And through it, many barriers that today separate peoples and worlds will disappear. If you learn to communicate in thought with your Father, if you achieve communication from spirit to spirit, what difficulty could there then be in communicating with your brothers, be they visible or invisible, present or absent, nearby or far away? Your thoughts always come to me, no matter how imperfect they are, and I hear your prayers, even if they lack the faith that you should always put in them. This is because my spirit captures the vibrations and feelings of all beings. However, those who find themselves distanced from others by their selfishness, and distanced from spiritual life by the materialism they have allowed themselves to be entangled in today, are not prepared to communicate with others by means of their thoughts. Nonetheless, I tell you that it is necessary to begin to educate your spirit. To do so, speak to the spirits, even if you receive no apparent answer from them. Tomorrow, when you have all learned to give, you will begin to have indications of a spiritual communication never imagined by men. The strength of feelings, desires, and fears. At every moment, mental and spiritual vibrations emanate from you, but most often you radiate selfishness, hatred, violence, vanity, and the lower passions. You wound, and you feel it when you are wounded, but you do not love, and so you do not feel it when you are loved. So, with your sickly thoughts, you saturate the environment you live in with pain, filling your existence with unease. I tell you, saturate all with peace, harmony, and love, for then you will be happy. Never think ill of those who do not love you, nor become exasperated with those who do not understand you, for even the most closely held feeling you have towards your fellow men is transmitted by your thoughts. Do you see those men who seek power through force? Very soon you will see them convinced of their error. I will demonstrate to them that through goodness alone, which is the emanation of love, one may be truly great and powerful. You need faith to raise your countenance, smiling with hope and looking forward to the future without doubt or mistrust. For I am in your future. How often are you ill simply because you think you are? Because you believe every step be dogged by fate or menaced by pain? That is when your mind attracts the darkness, and with it you surround your material life and your spiritual journey. Yet here you have me to reignite your faith in life, truth, eternity, and perfect peace, and to once more teach you to attract the light to yourselves. Lack of self-control. Man has two weaknesses, He makes no effort to remove his blindfolds, so he might study my elevated spiritual teachings. Nor does he wish to separate himself from those material pleasures that prevent his spiritual progress. Thus, he has become a slave to his selfish pleasures. His spirit is like a paralyzed man who makes no effort to heal himself. In all walks of life, wherever I look, I see the majority of men floundering. What does that mean? It means that you do not have enough strength of will to escape from the mire in which you find yourselves, or from the laziness caused by the bonds that tie you to the material. And that is the beginning of all vices and errors. But men do not wish to make use of the power they have been given, which is the will that should be the supreme legislator, which ought to be the greatest of all leaders, in concert with reason, fighting, strength against strength, empire against empire. On one side, passions and desires. On the other, reason and will, until the day reason and will win the final battle, and you can say that you are free. Then you will be the great prophets, the great enlightened ones, the supermen. Then you will be able to live among the beasts and play with reptiles. For truly, I tell you, it is the faults burdening you that make you fear these little brothers of yours, and it is because of these that they attack you. Yet, if you take the time to observe men, you will see that there are those who are fiercer than tigers and more venomous than cobras.